Alrighty, this is improv. Just kind of felt like popping on here, talking, drinking a coffee. Got a French press at my place, maybe I don't know a month ago. And before, when I woke up, I would like always have to go out for coffee and start the day outside, which is good. I like that too, getting out of the house. But it's sometimes nice just being at home and having a coffee and just kind of starting the day in your own energy, in your own thoughts. Super kind of random. Just wanted to hop on here. The video is not so great; it's kind of overexposed. But just got up a little bit ago, having a coffee, waking up, just jammed on a couple of voice notes with my buddy, and he was just kind of having some things change in his career, kind of in his job, and he was kind of having these thoughts of kind of what's next and what is this kind of trying to tell me, or what's this trying to signal to me, and that just kind of triggered some cool thoughts in myself. Really cool to surround yourself with people who are kind of, whether they're on the same lifeline as you or just kind of interesting, just doing stuff, is sick, because that voice note, 7-minute voice note, just like activated a bunch of kind of cool questions for me and all this stuff, which is super dope. So just want to kind of jump on here, just kind of off the cuff, little morning vibe here. Just kind of speak. So things have been really interesting for me lately. So the last like 4 weeks, I started doing the YouTube stuff, started jamming on videos, was pretty consistent, which is awesome. Really kind of feeling called to do those, and lately I've been consistent in doing that. I filmed in bulk to have an actual like runway, so then if I missed a week or didn't quite feel like it, I had videos in the pipeline where I could stay consistent like externally, which is cool. So that's been good. The last 4 weeks have been really interesting. So I think I spoke about it in other videos, but I was kind of at this crossroad where, being out in Bali now, I've been out here for about 4 months, and the majority of time I was out here just living off savings and just spending out of those accounts. And nothing wrong with that. I think that's kind of what money's meant to do, is, just give you kind of space and time to, do things authentically. But I was just kind of at this crossroad where it's like, do I want to just, burn money to live, or do I want to get back into leveraging a skill set that I already had? For me, one of my biggest ones right now is e-commerce, ability to scale e-commerce brands. And do I want to get back into that? Because this YouTube thing feels really authentic. I really feel, I've been called to do this for so long, and I just haven't, start all this stuff. And now I kind of finally feel like it's my time to kind of do this for real, which is dope. But then with the current circumstances, I was at this crossroad where, do I want to do this? Do I want to focus on this as a way to create income, turn this into, a business, turn this into, just some, monetizing it in some way, putting pressure on it to create some sort of income? Or do I want to let this thing evolve naturally, kind of, follow my own intuition, follow my own kind of vibe, and and just make money elsewhere, and really just let this become what it'll become on its own timeline, and without forcing it. And had this opportunity fall in my lap, getting back into scaling brands. I've had like my own business in and off and on for quite a few years. And then other times I've been working on contract for other agencies as a growth director, that type of thing, helping D2C brands scale, usually from about 1 million to 10 million, or 6 figures, like mid to 6 figures a year, to 7 to 8 figures. Scaling ads is kind of the key piece that I'm involved in, and I have a lot of fun doing that. I've talked about it in other videos, but I really enjoy the actual like work of it. It's really creative, helping these kind of businesses really understand their financials and how that works from a scaling perspective. I really enjoyed that as well. And ultimately this opportunity that came across my lap just got me into the driver's seat back to just running ads, which I really like, solving problems for these brands, not having to do any sales, any lead gen, stuff like that, that comes along with having your own agency, management, and all these other things. So ultimately accepted this role, and now I've been doing that for the last it's probably been about three weeks now, 3.5 weeks. something like that. And it's, it was tough because being out in Bali, I've just been kind of, just going with the flow and just, waking up, doing my thing, pretty much just, centering my day around like my workouts, what I'm eating, what I'm doing, all this stuff. It's really, really mellow, not having any kind of core responsibilities. And I talked about that in another video as well, in terms of, how I'm kind of shifting how I'm viewing responsibility. In the past, I labeled freedom as not having any responsibility, like total freedom, but that gets boring. And honestly, I just get bored doing that, when I just have 24 hours to myself. Typically is coming at the cost of contributing both to, society, to the world, just, not having any responsibility. So, I'm kind of was using my future self and, the man I'm stepping into, and thinking, how does he view responsibility? And ultimately for him, responsibility and having those things as a way to contribute, especially as a man, I think, being able to produce and add to the world and build skill sets and add value to things, I think is really, really cool, and kind of ultimately, what I really want to step into. And this way that I was, carrying this value of freedom, being pretty much no responsibility, was limiting that. So, I've been working on shifting that belief, ultimately getting into this job, getting back into earning while I'm, exploring these new paths and these new passions, is cool. But it's definitely been interesting. You guys can probably relate to this, where when you're just chilling and you're just kind of like on your vibe and you're just doing your thing, it's easy to feel creative. It's easy to get in touch with your intuition. Like maybe you're on a vacation, maybe it's a Sunday, you've had like 48 hours off from your kind of work responsibility. You're just like vibing and it's easy to kind of get in touch with like that authenticity. And when you have kind of this job and this set of responsibilities that, pays the bills, does that sort of thing, but maybe isn't authentic to what exactly you'd be doing in the moment. Like if you're a lawyer or accountant or whatever, it's really easy, I think, to get caught up in these like logical frames of mind. For me, I deal with a lot of numbers, resolving, conflict, like sometimes relationships, dealing with clients, solving business issues in real time, like these things that, can just add a lot of external stress. And sometimes at the end of the day, it's hard to like take that off and just, be a human being. Like for me, just to be Zach, not Zach the marketer, or not Zach the finance guy or the ecom guy or whatever it is, and like just be Zach the human. And that's what's been interesting, like these past 3 or 4 weeks, or a lot of times when I was filming these videos before that, just being authentic and doing my thing and following my intuition, just being in that creation mindset, which I just love, getting into that kind of artist frame, and being back now into, having to work more kind of, set hours. For me, it's a little bit later at night, like usually around like 8 p.m. to like 12 p.m. I'll do this stuff a little bit sometimes during the day, but mostly at night. So sleeping schedule has been a bit different. And then just, getting back into like numbers and responsibility of, managing a lot of money for clients and being responsible for the revenue. So I'm like, I take that really, really serious, and in terms of, again, making sure I'm showing up at 150%, being that dude who's driving results for them. And but yeah, it's really kind of come at the cost of, this intuition and just this creative and kind of this flow, where I'm waking up and then I'm kind of, even though I don't have to think about work for another, 10 hours after I wake up, I'm still kind of carrying that. I'm still wearing those responsibilities, and kind of wearing that frame of mind. And it's been tough because, again, the YouTube stuff and creation is really where I want to be. But again, in real life, you gotta, like, it's cost money to live. As humans, I think we're you need to be responsible, have responsibilities, and it's kind of, as a human, you can't just, stop being a son, stop being a coworker, stop being a business owner, stop being a friend. Like we just have basic responsibilities, like as humans, that you can't just kind of roll around with nothing all of the time. I think it's unsustainable, and nor do I really think you want to. And but yeah, it's been an adjustment. So for me, again, I think this is an opportunity and really a blessing in disguise, because it's allowing me to reframe and kind of vamp my perspective on how I'm feeling, how I'm looking at things, because again, all of life is perspective. And so that's been really, really cool. So now it's been about 3 or 4 weeks. I'm finally starting to feel kind of, now I can balance that. Now we can come on in the morning. I can, take off the ecom stuff, put on the artist thing, or even just, not even putting that on to begin with. Like, something that has been really, really cool is in the past, when I'm kind of in a business setting, a lot of times I'll put on like business Zach, and I'll be, really logical, really sharp, all this stuff, but it's usually a part of me, and it's not like the whole thing. And that would drain me, because if I'm being business act 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 hours a day, whatever it is, and I'm not just being Zach, it's again, I feel like I'm wearing this, piece of myself that's not the whole thing, and it can be a struggle to kind of like take that off. And then typically on Saturday and Sunday, you start to feel your normal self again, and then Monday rolls around, you become that, business person or accountant person or loyal person or whatever that is. And you start to lose yourself again. And one thing that I've really kind of told myself in this role is, I just want to be Zach. Like, if I want to jump on these calls and show up to work as myself, not as business Zach, not as ecom Zach, not as this, like just be me. So then I don't have to put something on and take it off. I can just be me. And ultimately too, I can just like, again, not create these subdivisions in my life where I'm being this person this part of the day, and then this person this part of the day, and all this stuff, and which is just really draining. So I'm really psyched. I think I've done a really good job in being back in this role, even hopping on with client calls, and just like being really mellow in my language, still doing the work, and showing up sharp as fuck, and getting sick results, and crushing it, because that's just built in me. I'm just like, if someone's gonna give me the responsibility of something, and trust me with that, like, I'm gonna show up, and I'm gonna make that happen for them, and that's just built in. But what I realized is, I don't have to become this piece of myself and put on this like mask when I'm on these calls to wear a Patagonia shirt, and make this client think that, like, I just live in the numbers 24/7. I can show up in a black t-shirt and just be like, hey, I'm a dude, I'm really good at this, and I have a lot of experience being really, really good at it, but at the end of the day, I'm also a dude, so I'm just gonna show up and be a dude who's really good at this, not like a Patagonia guy who's ripping finance terms all day. So that's been really, really cool, and kind of a lesson I've learned, kind of jumping in, and again, kind of finding this new balance between creating an income, creating, I think just, again, having basic responsibilities, but also still being an artist, creating, living a life that's authentic, and not putting on this mask, and not letting this work or this job or this responsibility define me, or just become too much of a thing where I feel like, Zach is having to go away Monday to Friday, and then this other version of me is having to, go Monday to Friday, and then Zach comes out on Saturday and Sunday, and then this other, person comes back on Monday to Friday. It's really just, being me 24/7, 365, and allowing things to flow. So yeah, been super cool. Really been honestly challenging, being out in Bali, like just, having my friends and family on the other side of the world, and working at night. Usually I'm in bed by like 9. Now I'm working at 8 or 9 till midnight, and definitely has been challenging. Just kind of feeling kind of alone, and you're in this struggle, and I'm just like in this hotel Airbnb thing, and I'm just dealing with these new stressors, and it's definitely been weird in some days, and definitely in some lows, like a lot of lows, honestly, the last 3 or 4 weeks. But again, like, huge blessing. I think this lonely chapter, Chris Williamson talks about this, Alex Ramosi talks about this. When you're in this lonely chapter, and you're the only person that you're kind of around, and you're just doing your thing. Right now I'm literally just in Bali by myself on the other side of the world, just doing my thing. I'm here because I was called to be here, and I'm showing up here, and now I'm making these YouTube videos, which again I've always wanted to do. So now I'm actually doing that, and things are happening, but it's gonna be really lonely before it's gonna really work out. But ultimately, there's so much I'm learning, and there's so much kind of trust I'm building in myself that again, getting into this work stuff, and I'm about to jump on these calls, and I'm all stressed out and stressing out all day about, this business issue or this thing or this call or this client, and then getting on this call or whatever, solving it, and it ends up being sick, and like the call is super fun, and like everyone's psyched, or like the results are sick and everyone's fired up, but I'm stressing myself out all day, like all freaking day, and I'm sometimes even stress myself out almost to the point of being sick, and then it's all fine. You know what I mean? It's totally all fine. It's just in my head, having these really, really high standards that I set for myself. But yeah, so that has been, kind of the last 4 weeks. Again, ton of highs and lows, but ultimately I think when you're doing your thing, you're on your lifeline, taking this time and just being with yourself is really beautiful, I think, in a lot of ways, because again, you just, learn so much about yourself, and you just remove all of this noise, whether it be you're constantly around people, you're not with your own thoughts. Maybe you're constantly around, other people's expectation of you. Maybe it's even just family, and you're not just doing your own thing and really thinking of like, what do I want? And that's the most amazing part about anytime life gives you adversity, anytime life gives you challenge, it's opportunity. It's opportunity to really connect with your intuition. Humans were built for homeostasis, and our body and our mind and everything is always trying to achieve this homeostasis. And it's so tough to change, and it's so tough to make change in our lives when you're in homeostasis. On a good day, it's really tough to use happiness as an emotion to go like do the thing you're meant to do. But on a bad day, it's easier to use the negative emotions to really change. When life starts changing around you, and you don't like those things, it's really easy now to make a change. Because I think Tony Robbins talked about this. It's like pain and pleasure. Pleasure, it's hard to change things for pleasure, but it's easy to change things out of pain. Like when you're in pain, it's easy to use those emotions of, I feel pain right now, I want to change, and actually create the change, based on that. So for me, it's been super exciting in a lot of ways. I think these last 3 or 4 weeks, feeling a lot of these negative emotions and low days, to, again, really get sharp on, what am I doing? Why am I here? What do I want? How do I want to be showing up? What is creating this pain for me? Again, for me, it was starting to realize, okay, I'm showing up as business Zach instead of just Zach. Okay, just show up and be Zach, and then just allow things to fall where they're going to fall. Don't be so, worked up on things. And Reality Transfer talks about this. Don't make things be more important than they are, because nothing is really that important. And a lot of conflict in our lives comes from overinflating on importance of things. So this meeting needs to go a certain way, or this business relationship needs to go a certain way. This thing I'm working on needs to happen. This video I'm filming is so important, and all these things. And when you're just thinking everything around you is so important, it's not. Like, it really isn't. And then, once you just wake up the next day and the thing went how it went, it's like, it's all good. Things happening in real time. It's just how things are going to happen. And again, we as humans, we have these beautiful opportunities of when things happen around us, which change is the most, inevitable thing that's going to happen in your life. We have the opportunity to respond to that change. And, I think that's the most beautiful part about being human, is we can choose, how we respond to stuff, which is cool. So yeah, been really, really cool having this kind of new stuff to really, think about how I want to respond to it. And I've been really, really happy in terms of how I have been responding to it. But yeah, really psyched to kind of get back to these videos now, share all these kind of new frames and perspectives and lessons I'm learning. But yeah, just sitting here, coffee's gone cold now. I haven't taken a sip in 18 minutes, 53 seconds. Gonna take a sip now. Yeah, that's freezing. But yeah, if you made it this far, really, really psyched to have you here. I'm just a dude figuring it out right now, just jamming, sitting in Bali by myself on the other side of the world from Canada. So yeah, pretty cool that yeah, we can just hop on and have an iPhone and press record and just start yapping. Pretty sick universe we live in to be able to do that. But yeah, I mean, hope some of this resonated. I think the biggest thing is again, as humans, it's really easy to feel isolated, where whatever you're going through or whatever you're dealing with, internally in your mind, it's easy to feel like you're the only one, and it's just you, and it feels so heavy. But man, we're, just all of us, like we're all in it, together, and so many people are just suffering in silence and just, being vulnerable and coming on here and just saying like, hey, like the last 3-4 weeks been tough, but here's what I'm learning, here's what I'm taking from it, is really what I want this channel to be, and what I want this kind of community to be around is just I think just voicing what's going on, making people know that it's really common. And again, ultimately, these down days and these hard things and these challenges and this adversity is like the biggest blessing. Like I would not be in Bali right now if like things didn't change, which at the time was adversity when my circumstances changed in Canada. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh, okay, well, I may as well go travel now. Like I may as well go do this thing that I've always wanted to do. It was my circumstances changing that gave me the opportunity to reframe and ultimately take this step to be in Bali right now, which, for a decade, I always envisioned myself, living abroad and doing this. And I didn't do it for 10 years and now I'm doing it. So, anything you're going through right now, I think it's just, what am I learning? What can I do? What is this activating in me? What is this teaching me about myself? And, how can I really implement that? How can I use this adversity as fuel to create the life that I've always wanted, and just, do the stuff that interests me, and be the person that I know I am and want to be, I think is really the message. So yeah, thanks so much for listening to me just jam right now. Psyched to get more into these kind of videos again. I think this new batch is just going to be probably, just me just talking a little bit more, a little bit less editing. It's going to be easier for me to get these out right now. And let me know in the comments kind of what you got out of this, anything resonated, and just kind of what you want to see, I guess, from this channel. I think it'd be super dope to hear from you. But thanks so much. Sending lots of love and good energy here from Bali. Hope you guys are crushing it, getting after it. And talk to you soon. Stay well.